Hi guys, this is Tablet-News.com and I'm here with a review of the Samsung Galaxy Tab S6. Yes, it's time for its review. It's definitely the most powerful Android tablet right now, and guess what? It comes bundled with a stylus, which you can hook up at the back in order for it to wirelessly charge and also for safe storage. It comes bundled with the stylus, and just in case you're wondering, the price tag is right now $640, even though in some area it's $700. Anyways, it's got a Super AMOLED screen, it's got a slim format. We've recently reviewed the Galaxy Tab S5e, but the Tab S6 is definitely the flagship this year. So let's talk about the design first and foremost. As you probably guessed it, we're dealing with a 10.5-inch tablet, which has a metal body. I'm not a huge fan of the antenna cutouts, which you can see at the top and bottom, but I can live with them. I can also live with the fact that we get a premium build here for sure. Metal body once again, and the thickness is a mere 5.7 millimeters, which is crazy considering how much technology there is inside. It also weighs only 420 grams. I love the idea of the pen being attached like this, even though it may hinder you a bit when you place the device on a flat surface. Obviously there's glass at the front side, and I would say that the side of the bezels is reasonable, so you can properly grip the device like this, just enough for your fingers to be placed on it. So a pretty solid build, a pretty good grip. It's metal and glass, it's comfy, light, perfect bezel size. What more can you want? I want to talk about the display right now. So what we're dealing with here is a 10.5-inch Super AMOLED screen with a generous resolution of 2560 over 1600 pixels. And aside from that, it's got the usual perks of a Super AMOLED, which means it's pretty bright, nice contrast in the sun, deep blacks, very vivid colors. But I'm going to hand it over to our video test, which is also going to be an audio test on account of the powerful quad speakers on board. So here we go. Okay, so even though we're talking about the screen right now, you also got a small taste of the quad speakers on board. So I should probably mention that the screen offers support for HDR and also has deep blacks, vivid colors, nice brightness, wide view angles. It's crisp, and we did a bunch of more tests on it, but only if you're really fond of this. This is the pixel setup. We're using a microscope for this one, and we spotted an atypical RGB striped pixel arrangement. Each blue pixel, which is rather wide, has associated two small subpixels. There's a green one and a red one. And we also did a brightness test, achieving a top level of 416 lux units. Not very impressive, but still well within range and well within a satisfying area. 1 lux more than the Galaxy Tab S5e, that's what you should remember, and also above the Galaxy Tab A 9.7. Still below the iPad from last year, the affordable iPad from 2018, keep that in mind. And also below the Galaxy Tab S2. Overall, I'm pretty happy with the screen here and also with the design, and you probably figured out already that I'm happy with the 4 speakers with their AKG tuning and Dolby Atmos technology. And if you want to tweak your experience further, there are the sound options here, sound quality and effects. There's an equalizer for you, and for the screen we also have its own equalizer, so to say. So we go here, display, adaptive brightness, blue light filter, very important, night mode, and a screen mode. Frankly, I expected more modes. We only have 2, vivid or natural. Font size and style, that's about it. I enjoyed Netflix on it, the Breaking Bad movie, not so great, but great viewing experience. Okay, so we gotten past the whole video watching and audio listening, and just for the sake of it, here are the speakers. 1, 2, 3 and 4. That's all of them. Okay, now I should probably mention how we're doing in the CPU department. It's the powerful Snapdragon 855, which is usually associated to the smartphones from 2019. So Snapdragon 855 accompanied by 6 GB of RAM and 128 gigabytes of storage plus a micro SD card slot. Obviously you can run Call of Duty Mobile on it like a champ, Asphalt 9, whatever you please. You'll be very happy with the result. I also did a bunch of benchmarks, but they're not very relevant because we haven't really tested many tablets lately. You can see some of the results here. Well, in some tests I would say we're close to the Galaxy Note 10 Plus, which basically speaks for itself. So in the latest Antutu, for example, we have a huge score, provided that I can actually find it. Okay, so this is one of the other Antutu tests. I know we broke the 400,000 points barrier, and that's got to count for something. So here we go. One of the tests shows 364,000, and as I said before, I'm pretty sure that with the Antutu 8 we broke the 400k value. Okay, GFX bench is also here, Geekbench as well, and 364k, 3D Mark, and in 3D Mark we actually surpassed a few phones out there which are pretty high performing, so rest assured this is a powerful device which will not disappoint you. And several more tests here. Enough about that, enough about the performance. You should know that the device is lag free, it can run any game, and it doesn't overheat. We also have proof of that. You can see here the heat signature of the device. We have a special FLIR camera, and the only area which gets hotter is around the charging portion of the stylus, but not in an extreme way, that's for sure. So okay heat dissipation and okay temperature of only 30.8 degrees Celsius, which was achieved, if I remember correctly, after a bunch of games, which is not half bad. If you want to talk about the battery, I'm going to spin the device for a second so we can get a new perspective of the whole experience. Now it's in portrait. So the battery here is a 7040 mAh unit, which should be good enough for 15 hours of video playback. That's what Samsung promises on paper. We're not on paper here, so let's see how it actually did in our tests. When it comes to the video playback, here we are, 14 hours and 22 minutes, which is excellent if you ask me and if you ask anyone. It should be on par with the expectations, very close to that mark. And when it comes to the continuous usage, we have PC mark and an excellent value of 10 hours and 14 minutes. It's placed pretty close to the top from all the tablets we've tested. You can find on par with the iPad Pro easily, and also the Galaxy Tab S5e and the Tab A models. We're done with the battery, we're done with the acoustics, and I guess it's time to talk about the camera. So let's keep things simple. If we go to the back side here, we have a dual camera setup, which is not something you see on a tablet every day. It's a combo of 13 megapixel and 5 megapixel, which is an ultra wide camera. Now that we're done with this camera here, so 13 megapixels and 5 megapixels, it does 4K video capture, does bokeh and selfie focus and all that. And here we have the 8 megapixel shooter, which you can use for your selfies, for your selfie videos, for your Skype needs, basically whatever you want. So usually people are douchebags when they use tablets during weddings and sadly funerals, but sometimes you actually have to work and rely on a tablet. So we tried it out, and as you can see, we have some pretty vivid colors here, some pretty nice results. We tried out the bokeh. I would say that if you've ever played with a Galaxy A40 or A50, this is exactly what you can expect. Not very impressed by the selfies, but anyways, 8 megapixel camera, front camera on a tablet. There weren't any great expectations. But the colors are pretty impressive for the main camera. Some okay ultra wide shots. Not the best in the world, but somewhere between the Galaxy A40 and the A50. And believe me, if you're going to film in 4K, you are going to be pretty impressed. So let me find a video and see how we're doing in that department. Okay, so this is a pretty colorful one. Here we go. Decent focus. Okay, frame rate. Some jitter here and there, but decent overall for a tablet. Let's leave that aside and talk about other aspects. So one of them being connectivity. You have a nano SIM card slot available on the device. You have pogo pins at the bottom. There's 4G LTE support. So the pogo pins hook up to a keyboard. And here we have the USB-C port. I should go back again to the connectivity. So 4G LTE. It's LTE category 20 if I'm not mistaken, Wi-Fi dual band with MU MIMO, Bluetooth 5.0 and also GPS and ANT+. We even went ahead and did a bunch of speed tests. You know the app, speed test is the name. So let's check it out. Okay, screenshots, and we should have them here somewhere. And as you can see, we're gravitating around 47 megabytes per second in download, 25 in upload. So that's about it. I've seen better, but the conditions of a network may fluctuate. And finally, we got to the money shot, which is basically the software experience. If you've seen our review for the Galaxy Tab S5e, it's pretty much the same on the Tab S6. So we got Bixby here on the side. One UI is minimalistic and focused on the navigation with the bottom side, while the top side is for consumption. And we have here the night mode, which is famous and saves power on Super AMOLED devices. Okay, and also something that I actually loved on the Galaxy Tab S5e, the Samsung DeX. It basically mimics a Windows experience. It provides you with icons, a taskbar, things like that. You can also have overlapping windows. I'm using YouTube right now, and also overlapping the apps. I can also open the gallery. Basically, as I said before, it mimics the Windows experience, and if you hook up a mouse and a keyboard, you really feel like you're using a proper laptop. It moves things down and provides you with an extra window for your apps and things like that. It feels closer not only to Windows but also to Chrome OS, if you ask me. But there is a bit of sluggishness, excuse me, at times when opening it up and closing it up. I mean, entering and exiting this mode. Okay, so that's DeX in a nutshell. Not much to say about the actual OS. You've seen One UI before. It's based on Android Pie. It's got flat and minimalistic icons. This is the multitasking, and you can close apps like this, which is pretty straightforward. And you also can do a bit of multitasking, I'm sure. Let's see which one. Split screen view. There's also the pop-up view, obviously, which will allow you to, for example, make a window float above others. Okay, so that's about it OS wise. And now I guess it's time to actually talk about the accessories for a bit. So we got the stylus here. It came bundled with the device, and it charges wirelessly when it's attached to the back. It's bigger than the regular S Pen from the Note 8 and Note 10. And if you press this icon here, you can see some of its options. Basically the same you got on the Note 10. You got Create a Note, View Notes, Smart Select, Screen Write, Live Messages, AR Doodle, and the nifty coloring, which I have found to be very relaxing. You enter a sketch, start coloring, and right now people relax themselves by coloring areas of a bird, and you can actually hear the noise made by the tip of the pen. Of course, you can also change the size of the tip, make it smaller or bigger, so you can color it faster. And that's only one example of how you can use the pen with probably more patience than me. The other options will feel right at home if you use the Galaxy Note before, so you can create a note from right here. Pretty straightforward, write something like hello world. Of course, hideous handwriting. And also you can create a live message, write it, animate it, do some screenwriting. There's the pen app community, and there's also AR Doodle, which was seen on the Galaxy Note 10. Come on, so I can add something to my face, like these ears here, make them more colorful. You can add a mustache and move around with them. So that's basically your augmented reality taste. But the actual use of the pen comes when you access Samsung Notes, and here I can maybe start a new document. Okay, discard. There are a bunch of things written here, and if I press this and I write something like goodbye and I press this button, it's text recognition. Even though I have written hideously, it recognized goodbye. Okay, so it was supposed to also have an E. Okay, let's go back, discard again, and let's write Tower Bridge. Processing Tower Brick. Well, close enough. Obviously, my handwriting is poor. So if you keep the button pressed, you can actually delete the things you've written. Okay, let's go back here, and here we go. I can delete my things, hopefully. Nope. Yes, I did. And of course, you can also do your drawing, writing, and all that jazz if you're really into it. There's a lot of things to do here. I won't insist on them too much. I'm going to put the pen to the side. I'm loving how comfy it is. It may create some barnacles on your finger a bit if you're using it too much. In this area here may create some blisters. Anyways, we also have another accessory. It's the keyboard. This is actually the keyboard book cover, that is called, because it comes in two parts. So you can connect it with the pogo pins like this. Thank God for magnetism. And then there's also this part here which completes the experience, and it's nifty enough to have a special slot for the stylus and room for the dual camera, and also a sticky part which doesn't adhere as much as I would have liked it to. And voila, we are done. Now if you really want to use it as a laptop, you're going to have to gently pry this open, put it in an angle like this, but it tends to slip. That's my main beef with it. It tends to slip on a surface which is, well, shiny and things like that. Even if you make it adhere as much as possible with the sticky material, if you don't have something more, well, textured, you'll have some problems with making it stick. Anyways, I'm pretty proficient with the keyboard. It may have small keys and a small trackpad and a very small backspace button. Okay, I'm done with that. But as I said before, I'm reasonably proficient with it. Okay, so let me just go back here. Pretty sure the keyboard and the tablet is gonna fall at some point. And here we go, Samsung Notes, discard, and let's try and write something. So something like I got as high as 100 words per minute at some point. Tablet-News.com. I know it feels cramped a bit, but you're going to get used to it. It reminds me a bit of the keyboard of the latest Chromebooks. That's the vibe. Around it, keys with a 1mm travel, 1.1mm, and about 70 grams of pressure on them. Pretty nice feel, and even the small trackpad, you can get used to it. That's about it. My main grip with the device is, of course, the fact that it doesn't quite stick, this protection, and also even if you bend it, you have to find a really properly rugged surface to actually prop it up. This has been the review of the Samsung Galaxy Tab S6, definitely the most powerful Android tablet right now, without a rival in that regard, and also a pretty nifty media consumption beast. If you're going to be watching Netflix, there's no other tablet I would rather do it. We got a Super AMOLED screen and hugely powerful speakers. On the Pro side, we got the design. We also have the battery, the screen, and the processing power for sure. Of course, the S Pen is always a plus, especially because you can also put it at the back side so you can charge and be handy at any time. So those are the pros. On the con side, we don't have an audio jack here. The accessory feels a bit finicky at times, and I would have to say that the volume is not as loud as I've heard on other tablets. Well, other things worth mentioning, the fact that the keyboard is a bit pricey, something like 180 bucks, not for everyone if you already spent 700 bucks on the tablet, and that's about it. The best rival for the iPad Pro right now is this one, and even a solid rival for the Microsoft Surface, which is honestly hard to find in some parts of Europe, particularly my part. Okay, so let's also access this and show you our website, Tablet News. In the end, this is definitely a device that will get from us 9.5 out of 10, that's for sure, and it's honestly the most powerful tablet I've tested ever with Android, and definitely the best iPad Pro rival money can buy. The best screen I play with in a while, the best speakers, the most powerful CPU on a tablet, and I'm loving the keyboard in spite of its small drawback. And also the S Pen is multifaceted. This is from Tablet-News.com. Hope you enjoyed this review, and also don't forget to check out the one for the Galaxy Tab S5e. This is it from us. Bye bye.